Hit that like button, man. Check Sean G out, man. Hit that like button, man. We live and we locked in. We live and we locked in. We locked in. Let me get my pillows right. Hold up. Hold up. Let me get my pillows right. Get the pillow joint. Share this video. Share this video. Free Puff. Free Puff. In the win, Kansas City. Free Puff. In the win, Kansas City. Kansas City, what up? Kevin Holton, what up? Kansas City, what up? Kevin Holton. Shout out to Kansas City Monarchs, the Negro League. Negro League Baseball Museum is in Kansas City joint. Kansas City. Puff going home, y'all. Yo, McCann, what up? McCann Cornell, what up? Puffy going home, man. Whether you like him or not. I know y'all don't like him. I know y'all hate him. Got new paperwork, man. Listen, this ain't Tisa Tales, man. Right off the bat. Right off the bat. Let's get this straight. This ain't Tisa Tales. You understand? We right off the bat with it, man. Straight off the rip. Hold on. Gainesville, Florida, what up? Florida Gators. Florida Gators in the house. I see you. Florida Gators. Philadelphia in the building. Shout out to Philly. Me and Sean coming down there next week when the Mets play the Phillies. We coming down to the game. Okay. So yesterday, we went over this paperwork. Alexandra Shapiro, who is one of the leading, maybe number one appeals lawyer in the United States of America. Alexandra Shapiro, I used to see her in the hallway at the trial. She used to always speak to me. I have an interview set up with Alexandra Shapiro. We were gonna do it about 2 or 3 weeks ago, right before Puffy got denied bail on his last bail request. That pissed me off so bad that I said, Alexandra, let's just wait until after this is all said and done and me and you can sit down and do an interview. Latrice Greenwood, what's up? I see you, sidebar. So I will be interviewing Alexandra Shapiro on this channel, 1000%. Jason Driscoll, I haven't spoken to him yet. He works with Alexandra Shapiro. I will be interviewing Jason Driscoll on this channel. Alexandra Shapiro, within the last 90 days, has had 2 cases overturned in the Second Circuit, which includes the Southern District of New York. She's top of the line, elite level. Alexandra Shapiro, she sat in the back on the left-hand side of Puffy's legal team. Puffy had 2 tables of lawyers. Puffy had 11 lawyers. The Southern District of New York had 6 prosecutors. The most of any case ever in the Southern District of New York. No case prior to Puffy had that many assistant U.S. attorneys. 6. And they still lost. Maureen Comey got fired. Tisa Tales lost. My man Dennis Byron, there you go. Goddamn Dennis Byron. Thank you.
Here you go.
All right. Appreciate you. Tisa tells lost. She got ran out of the overflow. They were getting ready to beat her up, the other YouTubers and TikTokers, outside the courtroom. She lied the entire trial. Alexandra Shapiro, right after Breonna Bogelin perjured herself on the stand, the very next day, Alexandra Shapiro stood up and she requested a Rule 29 acquittal based upon prosecutorial misconduct that had been going on in Puffy's trial and the open and blatant perjury that went on the day before in Judge Submaranian's courtroom. Alexandra Shapiro, she took up the whole morning. She was up there like 3-4 hours straight doing her Rule 29 motion. And a Rule 29 is a request for the judge to enter an acquittal. Just a flat out acquittal. Let him go. Rule 29s can be for various reasons. Insufficient evidence to support a conviction, and all of that is in here. Alexandra Shapiro, she fought for Puff every day. Every day. She stayed getting into beefs with Maureen Comey, Meredith Foster, Emily Johnson, Smizer, Slavic, Maureen Comey, the judge. She was beefing with everybody. She didn't take no junk off of nobody. She fought for Puff. And here she offers a rebuttal to the prosecution's denial of Puffy's request for a Rule 29 acquittal. Right here, this is a 30-page document. Document number 499. You can get this document on Pacer. I know when I put it up, it shows up backwards. I don't care. You figure it out. I don't know that it shows up backwards. I only put the paperwork up there so that you know that I'm not Gene Deal talking out of the side of my neck about stuff I don't know nothing what I'm talking about. I show you the paperwork so that you know that I am not Tisa Tells or that other dude from London, Murad Moraney, whatever the hell his name is. I come straight from the documents. So Alexandra Shapiro highlighted, is it 61 or 81? 61 cases. She highlighted 61 cases, all precedent cases, supporting her motion to acquit Puff. 61 cases. And if Judge Submaranian is not going to just offer a flat-out acquittal for Puff, then give Puff a new trial because of the spillover misjoinder of the evidence that was presented at the trial that may have tainted the jury or prejudiced the jury and put the jury in a position where they felt like, well, We acquitted him of the racketeering conspiracy. We acquitted him of the SEX trafficking. But we got to at least convict him on the Mann Act. And the argument is, in a Rule 33, is you ask for a retrial, or a new trial. There go my man, Dennis Byron. My written song, Free Diddy, is streaming on all platforms. We support black media over here. I am a foundational black American man. This is a foundational black American media company. So the argument that Alexandra Shapiro makes is that a lot of the evidence that was introduced during the trial to try to get a conviction for the RICO and the SEX trafficking, the violence, the arson with Kid Cudi, which was a lie. Kid Cudi committed perjury. The kidnapping with Capricorn Clark was a lie. Capricorn Clark committed perjury. The hanging of the balcony 17 floors up was a lie. Breonna Bogelin committed perjury. If the Mann Act charges were tried by themselves, none of that testimony, none of that evidence or testimony would have been introduced during the trial, and the jury would not have heard any of that, allowing it to poison their minds. Quite frankly, if the Mann Act charges were tried separately, the Department of Justice issued a rule, they put out a memo that in federal system, in the federal court, in the federal system, no one should be charged with the Mann Act unless there is a profit motive involved. If it's a true prostitution ring, it's a true brothel, it's a true pimp, it's a true prostitution ring. Dennis Byron, I see you. Thank you for the support. So that being said, Puffy would not have even been charged for the Mann Act because he doesn't meet any of that criteria. In this document, I just read the whole thing. You see our outline. Look at that. Underline, highlight. All kind. I read the document because I'm very smart. I'm very intelligent. What's his name? Murad. That's his name, Kim. Tell his lying ass, where is he at? He in London? He said he was at the court. I didn't see him. Murad. You's a liar too. But anyway, getting back to what I was saying, I deal with facts. I'm very smart. I'm very intelligent. And I just don't, I'm not going to get on this screen looking as good as I look and just get up here and be talking about nothing. You understand? RJU Jones, thank you for your channel membership. Latrice Greenwood, thank you for your channel membership. See, because the nigga got to look like something. You got to look like something in life. Take care of yourself physically. Mental health is very important. Spiritual health is very important. So I read the documents so that I can speak from a knowledge-based position. I'm not a Gene Deal. You know, I'm who ain't never once read from no paperwork ever. He lost. He thought Puff was gonna get convicted. He wasn't even called to be a witness for the government, yet he claimed to have so much information. You understand? Tisha Tells is a loser. All she do is lie. But anyway, getting back to what I was saying, Alexandra Shapiro in this document talks about our First Amendment rights. My First Amendment right as a United States citizen. Treadmill Games, thank you for your channel membership. Your United States citizens' First Amendment rights. If you want to film porn, porn is protected under the First Amendment. Amateur porn is protected under the First Amendment. So voyeurism, which is really what Puffy was engaging in, you had consenting male entertainers, male adults, consenting with adult females, Puffy's girlfriends, to engage in intercourse while Puffy films. That is perfectly legal. Perfectly legal under the Constitution. Now, Alexandra Shapiro goes deep into the Mann Act and prostitution. She goes back to the mid 19th century and the early 20th century, when the framework of the Mann Act was first put together. You see how I'm coming off the top of the dome with this? But I'm gonna back it up. I'm gonna back it up with the document. When they really put it down, it was really about women. It was about women. It was called the White Slave Traffic Act. It had nothing to do with niggas or black people. It was more so geared toward girls and women being induced, enticed, coerced, or forced into sexual intercourse with men. And the foundation of this law was purely about women. Women. And Alexandra Shapiro, look at my man Dennis Byram showing love. Maybe one day Gene Deal would share the time he was dropped by one of the homies with his clout chasing ass. Oh, he got dropped. What Alexandra Shapiro does in this document is she points out that the initial framework was women, right? But that the Southern District of New York, in their last filing with Judge Submaranian, in their rebuttal to Puffy's initial request second request at a Rule 29, that the Southern District of New York says it's just sex for hire, right? Removing the gender piece. So this way they can bring in the male escort idea joint. But Alexandra Shapiro says, not too fast. If you're going to convict on the Mann Act, instituted in 1910, the early 20th century, then we need to look at prostitution at that time. What did prostitution mean in 1910, right? She cited another case that took place in 1937. And that what the judge did, what the Supreme Court did at that time, is they went and got dictionaries that were printed in the 1930s and used those definitions to compare to the case in 1937. What the Southern District of New York is doing, the losers, the ones who got beat at trial, they're taking a 2025 dictionary, a 2024 dictionary, and getting the meaning of prostitution, of what it means today, and making it applicable to a law that was brought into being in 1910, over 115 years ago. And Alexandra Shapiro is saying you can't do that, right? You have to look at what prostitution meant in 1910. And what it meant was it dealt with women. It dealt with women. You follow what I'm saying? Follow what I'm saying? Hey, Dennis Byram, thank you for the super chats. What's his whole name, Kim? Kim Johnson, put his whole name up there and send him this video. So, you know, Alexander Shapiro, and I can see Jason Driscoll. I can see Jason Driscoll's fingerprints all over this document. Page 8 of 30. Document number, Milton Scott. Document number 499. The prosecution spent 2 months trying to prove that Puffy was a sex trafficker who ran a violent racketeering enterprise. It failed. The jury rejected that narrative. It found that Puffy's girlfriends willingly participated in the sex and that he was no racketeer. 100 grand, what up? The remaining Mann Act charges should never have been brought, and wouldn't have been brought absent the failed charges of the racketeering conspiracy and the sex trafficking. No other similarly situated person has ever been charged under the Mann Act for arranging interstate travel and paying adult males who had consensual sex with his adult girlfriends. No other case in the history of the world has this kind of case, this kind of evidence. Puffy's motion demonstrated that the term prostitution cannot constitutionally be construed to prohibit this conduct. The government hopes the court will duck these issues, but that would be reversible error, meaning that Puffy's going to appeal and he's going to get reversed at the appellate level in the Second Circuit. Check this part out. I got it highlighted, y'all. Check me out. Settled Second Circuit and Supreme Court precedents establish that such statutory interpretation questions must be considered under Rule 29. And the government's merits arguments similarly defy controlling law and the trial record in multiple ways. The government misconstrues the plain meaning rule and the due process, federalism, and First Amendment case law. And the government's Rule 33 argument proceeds from the untenable premise that all the inflammatory evidence it told the jury was irrelevant to the Mann Act, and it would have been admitted anyway. Puffy is entitled to acquittal or at least a new trial. Right here, right off the bat, straight from the paperwork. Rule 29 asks whether the evidence is insufficient to sustain a conviction, a question that necessarily turns on, first, what conduct the criminal statute prohibits, and second, what the proof at trial showed. That is because the court's task is to determine, that is because Judge Submaranian's task is to determine whether there is sufficient evidence to prove each statutory element of the crime. Just weeks ago, the Second Circuit considered another case where a Rule 29 motion depended entirely on statutory arguments. After trial, the defendants filed motions for acquittal under Rule 29, arguing that the statute does not criminalize the conduct alleged in this case. Tony, I see you, Tony. Oklahoma City in the building. So that's what, so 2 weeks ago, another case over there in the Second Circuit, some dudes got busted. What's their name? Lopez. And after they got convicted, they filed the Rule 21 stating that the statute that they got convicted under, the evidence and the behavior that they showed did not fall under that statute, which is what we just went over with the Puff joint. The Mann Act involves transporting, at the outset, women, right? And at this time, Congress, and all of that is in here, going back to the middle of the 20th century, said that prostitution was Party A. The Congress, United States Congress, at the time when they was going over the Mann Act, said that prostitution, the definition of prostitution was Party A paying money to Party B, who had to be a woman, and then Party B performing sex on Party A. So it was only a two-person event. It was only a two-person thing. Party A, the dude saying, yo, I got some cheese. Let me hit that. And the honey saying, I bet. Give me that. After the honey take the cheese, the honey and the dude do the raccoon. They do the raccoon. Party A and Party B do the raccoon for the money. That wasn't Puffy's case. And Party B had to be a honey, had to be a female. Look at Puffy's case. He hired entertainers from a legitimate business, right? He hired entertainers from a legitimate business for their time. And another argument that Alexandra Shapiro makes in here is that Puffy did not have the mens rea at the time that he hired the entertainers to come. He didn't hire them with the intent and even the knowledge of knowing that sex was going to take place. That's what her argument is. And for that fact, right, you have to convict on the criminal intent, the mens rea. What was the intent? Not what transpired after the fact, which is what the Southern District of New York prosecution was doing. I need y'all to hit that like button, y'all. I need y'all to put me on 150 likes. Hit that like button. Put it on there. Hurry up. Hurry up. Hurry up. Put it on there. Hurry up. Do it now. Do it now. Hurry up. Do it now. So, all of these points are raised in here. Check me out. Paperwork. Underline. See that underline? I read these documents for real. I'm not playing around. This ain't no tabloid. I'm not a tabloid YouTuber like Tisa tells. I'm not a tabloid YouTuber like the dude Murad. Is he here? Somebody call ICE and see if his paperwork right. Hold on a second. Hello? Is this ICE? Yeah, check that dude Murad. Check his paperwork out. Is he even supposed to be in here? All right, check his paperwork out. He got a YouTube channel. He be lying like Tisa tell. All right. Dennis Byram, thank you for joining the channel membership. Yo, everybody shout out Dennis Byram, man. Everybody shout out Dennis Byram for the channel membership. Got that soul glow. Indeed, the Supreme Court often resolves statutory interpretation issues in connection with sufficiency claims. In Simonelli, the court resolved a statutory construction issue raised in the context of a sufficiency claim, whether the right to control theory of fraud was invalid, and ruled in the defendant's favor. Against this wall of authority, along with common practice and basic legal logic, the Southern District of New York cites a few unpublished district court orders. None of these cases holds that statutory arguments are not proper in Rule 29 motions. If they did, they would conflict with the Second Circuit and the Supreme Court. So the Southern District of New York, who got beat at trial in their rebuttal to deny Puff a Rule 29, they was citing cases, but these cases was unpublished because they knew, and they did that deliberately because they knew if they cited the cases that were published, it would be in violation to precedent cases already ruled on in the Supreme Court and the Second Circuit. The government's contention that arguments about statutory interpretation can only be considered if they are raised earlier in requests for jury instructions or a motion to dismiss the indictment is also contrary to controlling law. The Supreme Court has held that sufficiency review does not rest on how the jury was instructed. So the Southern District of New York, who got their ass kicked at trial by Puff beat them. Puff beat the Southern District of New York. Mark Agnifilo beat the Southern District of New York. Xavier Donaldson beat the Southern District of New York. Brian Steele beat the Southern District of New York. Anna Estevello beat the Southern District of New York. Tenny Garagos beat the Southern District of New York. Nicole Westmoreland beat the Southern District of New York. Jason Driscoll beat the Southern District of New York. Jonathan Bach beat the Southern District of New York. And Alexandra Shapiro, they beat the Southern District of New York. They all beat. Southern District of New York lost that trial in New York City in the biggest case in the history of this country. They lost. They got beat by a foundational black American male. You can't erase the history. That's a fact. I was there. I saw the whole thing. So what the Southern District of New York was saying was that all these arguments that Alexandra Shapiro is making now should have been made prior to the jury instruction or when the indictment was first brought. But Alexandra Shapiro is saying, how the hell we gonna bring something before the indictment and we ain't even heard the testimony yet? And you don't have to bring it before the jury instructions. And she cites cases where defendants have requested Rule 29 acquittals after the trial and after the jury instructions. The Supreme Court has held that sufficiency review does not rest on how the jury was instructed. In Musashio, the defendant argued that the government forfeited its legal arguments by failing to raise them at the instructional stage. The Supreme Court disagreed and held that the failure to object to a heightened jury instruction does not affect the court's review for sufficiency of evidence. Likewise, Puffy's failure to raise his legal arguments at the charging stage of the jury instruction does not affect sufficiency review. Indeed, check me out, on paperwork. This is old paperwork. I'm about the paperwork. I did Fed time. I've been to federal prison. I did Fed time. So I know it's all about the paperwork. Indeed, the Second Circuit has held that under Musacchio, a defendant need not raise statutory arguments at the instructional stage to raise them under Rule 29. In the United States versus Blazak, the defendants did not challenge the pertinent jury instructions in the district court, but did file a Rule 29 motion for a judgment of acquittal on the ground that the evidence at trial was insufficient to establish the CMS's information was property in the hands of the agency. The Second Circuit held that the insufficiency claim properly preserved. The circuit ruled in the defendant's favor on the sufficiency claim based on the statutory arguments. So this is Judge Submaranian is looking at this now. And Puffy is gonna get, he's either gonna get acquitted or he's gonna get a new trial. Either one. If he gets a new trial, we will beat the Southern District of New York again. The Southern District of New York cannot beat Mark Agnifilo or Tenny Garagos. None of Puffy's lawyers. They're not good enough. They're not good enough. All right, so let's get into the prostitution joint. Let's get into the prostitution joint. This is the paperwork, page 12. Page 12 of 30. The government did not prove, the Southern District of New York did not prove Puffy transported anyone intending the mens rea to engage in prostitution. The government's substantive arguments fare no better and defy controlling precedent in multiple ways. The term prostitution is defined in 18 USC 2421A, and interpreting it to cover Puffy's conduct would raise serious constitutional problems. The government says the word's meaning, prostitution, is obvious based on the current dictionary. The Southern District of New York says the word's meaning as it relates to Puff is based on the current dictionary. But the Supreme Court requires statutory terms to be construed based on their ordinary meaning when the statute was enacted. The Mann Act was enacted in 1910, so you got to get a dictionary from 1910 to find the meaning of prostitution in that dictionary. What they meant at the time, what was the mens rea at the time. And the meaning of prostitution has never been fixed or settled, was overbroad at the time of enactment, and remains hopelessly vague. The government's attempts to dismiss the substantive due process, federalism, and First Amendment problems are equally spurious. Spurious means fake. To avoid these constitutional problems, Judge Submaranian, you should hold that prostitution excludes, does not include paying a person to have sex with a third party. Under that properly narrowed construction, Puffy is entitled to an acquittal. Alexandra Shapiro, man. Money, cash money. Puffy had 11 lawyers. They only had 6. How could they win? Tisa Tells lost. Murad, he lost. Gene Deal, they lost. Gene Deal wasn't even called as a witness. He had all this information. Never seen that nigga with a piece of paperwork in his hand, not one time in 5 years, and he wasn't even a star witness for the government. The meaning of prostitution has changed over time. In the late 19th and early 20th century, when the White Slave Traffic Act was enacted, the late 19th century is the 1800s. The early 20th century is the 1900s. We are living in the 21st century. When the White Slave Traffic Act was enacted, a prostitute was a woman who had sex outside of marriage. That was the definition of a prostitute and prostitution when this law was enacted. A woman who had sex outside of marriage. The meaning has changed as society's sexual mores have shifted. As Combs showed, some states have limited their reach of their prostitution laws to those who were involved in bilateral prostitution or actual sex contact with the alleged prostitute. The government says the meaning of prostitution is just plain sex for hire. But the government's entire argument rests on an elementary mistake. When applying the plain meaning rule, courts must ascertain the plain meaning of the words when the statute was enacted. So the Southern District of New York, who got beat, got their ass kicked at trial, is taking a dictionary from 2024, goddamn Dennis Byron, from 2024, and looking at the word prostitution, but using it, the modern definition, on an act that Puffy is charged for that was enacted in 1910. The fuck is that? So Alexandra Shapiro makes tremendous arguments that the Southern District of New York's argument is flawed. And Judge Submarinian, send this video to Judge Submarinian. Judge Submarinian must rule that Puffy gets acquitted or he gets a retrial. Puffy and me and Puff, will be doing an interview on this channel. Puffy will be on the podcast with Soul. Let me ask y'all a question. Can I ask y'all a question? If I can ask y'all a question, put a 5 in the live chat. Put a 5 in the live chat if I can ask y'all a question. Put a 5 in the live chat if I can ask y'all a question. All right. When Puffy gets acquitted and Puffy gets released, where would you like to see his first interview done? Who do you think is best qualified, best looking, most intelligent, most articulate, has the greatest vocabulary, has the prettiest teeth, has the prettiest skin color? Who is the most versed in the case? Who's the most well-rounded in the case? Who should interview Puff first? Put it in the live chat. Put it in the live chat. Should it be CNN or NBC? Who should get it first? Who got the best notes? Who had the best notebook that he bought for $3.99 in Chilltown, Jersey City, New Jersey? That's right. Somebody said academics. Shout out to academics. For example, the Supreme Court, Judge Submarinian, interprets federal statutes enacted in the 1800s. It looks to 19th century sources. The meaning of words change over time. To determine the meaning of money, to determine the meaning of money in a statute enacted in 1937, for example, the Supreme Court consulted a dictionary from the 1930s. The meaning of words change over time. When Congress enacts a statute, it's not predicting what the words will mean 100 years later. It is relying on what they mean at the time. The question is not what the plain meaning of prostitution is in 2025. The question is, what is the plain meaning that was the meaning in 1910, if there was one? Dennis Byram, my man Dennis Byram showing love. Ask your question. Dennis Byram should get the first interview, however I would share the show with you. Man, shout out to Dennis Byram, man. Dennis, you ain't getting that first interview. Puffy will be on the podcast with Soul. You know why he gonna be on here? Cause he a fed nigga, and I'm a fed nigga. His name's Sean, my name's Sean. He 56 years old, I'm 56 years old. We both from the East Coast. We both from the New York City metropolitan area. His name's Sean, my name's Sean. And we spell it the same. So he got to come here first. And I'm the best. And I'm the best. I'm the best. I'm the best. Page 15 of 30. Page 15 of 30. Check my highlight out. My highlighter better than your highlighter. Look at how I highlight. I underline stuff, some stuff, and then I highlight other stuff. Goddamn Dennis Barrow. Second, the common law meaning of prostitution was incorporated into federal statutes by the Supreme Court at the relevant time. Congress had enacted immigration statutes in the late 19th century and early 20th centuries prohibiting the importation of women for the purpose of prostitution. The Supreme Court interpreted the word prostitution. There can be no doubt as to what class was aimed at by the clause forbidding the importation of alien women for the purpose of prostitution. It refers to women who, for hire or without hire, offer their bodies to indiscriminate intercourse with men. The government tellingly ignores the Diddy case, even though the Supreme Court relied on it when interpreting the Mann Act in 1917 to hold that prostitution in the Mann Act also refers to women who, for hire or without hire, offer their bodies to indiscriminate intercourse with men. Accordingly, if there was any goddamn Lee Gooden, thank you, Lee. Accordingly, if there was any settled ordinary meaning of prostitute in 1910, it was a woman who has indiscriminate sex with men, whether paid or not paid. That was the common law meaning and the federal meaning under Biddy and Caminetti. If Judge Submaranian were to apply that meaning, the statute would plainly be unconstitutional, which the government does not dispute. Goddamn Dennis Barrow. Hey Dennis Barrow, check me out, man. Check my coffee out. Check my coffee out. As Puffy's motion explains, in the last 50 years, numerous state courts have narrowed prostitution to exclude voyeuristic activity like that at issue here. Prostitution's meaning was vastly different in 1910, has changed over time, and has various different meanings today in 2025, depending on the jurisdiction. The plain meaning rule does not resolve the interpretive question on which Puffy's motion turns. New York law. New York law. Party A pays Party B for sexual activity to be performed on Party A. Goddamn Alicia Butler. Alicia Butler, I see you. Shout out to whole Michigan, man. Shout out to Detroit, Kalamazoo, Lansing, Flint, Saginaw, all that. The 1910 meaning of prostitution covers a wide range of practices Congress may not prohibit under modern constitutional law, such as taking on a mistress and polyamorous relationships, meaning you got your main piece, but then you got a side piece you hitting too. Or you got 2-3 honeys. You tell all 3 of your honeys, say, yo, all 4 of us is a team. All 4 of us is a team. You understand? Is that prostitution? Allowing Congress to criminalize sex acts like voyeuristic activities or pornography that Puffy was engaged in that aren't illegal in many states, simply because the participants crossed state lines would mark a sweeping expansion of federal criminal jurisdiction. The government does not seriously dispute that if the man act covers only commercialized pimping or excludes payments for sex to third parties, Puffy must be acquitted. The evidence it cites relates to sexual activities with his girlfriends. Jane was his girlfriend. Cassie was his girlfriend. They were not for hire, which is irrelevant. In the cases excluding third-party or voyeuristic situations from prostitution, the person paying did so for sexual gratification. The issue is not whether Puffy had sex with his girlfriends during freak-offs or whether he masturbated while the others had sex. The issue is whether Puffy had sex with the alleged prostitutes, the escorts, and the entertainers. There was zero evidence that Puffy had sex with the male escorts, the entertainers, or the escorts. Therefore, Puffy must be acquitted. It's all right here. All right here, y'all. I got the paperwork. Page 19 of 30. Page 19 of 30. Similarly, Cassie's testimony about why the escorts were paid does not help the Southern District of New York. Cassie testified, "I didn't have a role in determining how much escorts were paid, and it wasn't my money." Cassie stated that how much the escorts were paid depended on whether Combs was pleased by their performance. Now, as the definition of prostitution, what Cassie does here and what she says here helps Puff. And Judge Submaranian should see this. If the male escort paid Cassie money for Cassie to do the raccoon with the male escort, then the fixed amount of money would have been discussed, the mens rea of the male escort, and Cassie would have been with the intent to engage in prostitution, and Cassie would have known how much money transpired, and then the male escort would have had sex with Cassie. That would constitute prostitution. But what Cassie is saying, I was the one having sex with the male escort, but I didn't know how much they was paid, if they were paid, and it wasn't my money. Puffy handled all that. And Puffy did not engage in sexual acts with who y'all claiming is the prostitute, which is the male sex worker, the male entertainer. Shit is crazy. Cassie stated, Cassie certainly didn't testify that the escorts were paid for prostitution. Instead, Cassie repeatedly said escorts were paid to entertain. And Cassie described arranging the freak-offs as setting up entertainment, not booking a prostitute. Jane Doe, her testimony was similar. Jane Doe characterized the escorts as entertainers. Jane Doe never testified that the entertainers were paid for sex. The Southern District of New York notes that Ventura and Jane, Cassie and Jane, testified that they were present at freak-offs or hotel nights, and that Puffy paid escorts after they had sex. But the basic chronology is equally consistent with escorts being paid for their time as opposed to sex, and does not prove the money was for sex or that any corresponding travel for purposes of engaging in prostitution. When Cassie first hired Daniel Phillip, Cassie asked for a massage and said wherever things go from here, based on how comfortable he was. That evidence is consistent with innocence as with guilt and is insufficient. So, what? My back itching, y'all. Hold up, my back itching. Let me scratch my back. Which one of my female subscribers want to scratch my back? Y'all want to scratch my back? My back itch. Come scratch my back. Just my female subscriber. So, what Alexandra Shapiro outlines here is this. Sidebar. Superior imaging. Sidebar. Is the Southern District of New York said this, that the male escorts were transported, they had sex with Cassie and Jane, and then they were paid. That constitutes prostitution or payment for sex. But what Alexandra Shapiro points out is that even if there was no sex and the male entertainer was transported and just hung out with them and had drinks and was paid, it followed the same sequence whether they had sex or not. They were always paid at the end of the night. Nah, they ain't gotta be single. You ain't gotta be single to scratch my back. Don't speak for me. Speak for yourself. Now we're gonna talk about the First Amendment joint. Hey, what's up, man? How you doing?
What's going on, man?
What's going on with you?
I've been chilling, though. How you doing?
All right, good. Good to see you, man.
Brother. Likewise.
Yeah,
man.
good to see you.
Likewise, man. Thank you.
The same First Amendment principle applies regardless of whether the person directing. Now they're going to get into the First Amendment. That Puffy has a right. I have a right. You have a right. She has a right. My man has a right. Everybody's got a right to film your sexual experience. Everybody has a right under the First Amendment. The same First Amendment principle applies regardless of whether the person directing or producing a pornographic film is aroused while he or she films others having sex or not.
Gracias, mi amor. ¿Vale que le metiste las dos azúcar?
Sí,
A esta, right?
a los dos igual.
Okay, gracias.
This is protected by the First Amendment, even if it had watched or recorded sex for arousal. The court held that even assuming the defendant had mens rea sufficient, California's prostitution statute would impinge inconstitutionally upon First Amendment values. So they found a case in California where a California Supreme Court ruled that it's First Amendment right to film porn, especially for personal use. Same thing in New Hampshire. The New Hampshire Supreme Court relied on the same general free speech principles to overturn the conviction of an individual who was a commercial pornographer. Same thing. None of them suggested that an amateur pornographer like Puffy would be stripped of his First Amendment rights merely because, in addition to having a creative purpose of directing and filming a sexually explicit show, he also had a sexual purpose. The record shows that Puffy was acting as an amateur pornographer and making homemade porn for later private viewing with his girlfriends. Cassie testified that the freak-offs were like porn. Producing and recording the performances was a key motivation. The evidence shows that Puffy, Cassie, and Jane recorded the freak-offs and hotel nights so they could watch them together later. The government ignores and instead claims Puffy used the videos to blackmail Cassie and Jane. But the jury rejected that evidence by acquitting Puffy of sex trafficking. Regardless, it is irrelevant to whether he transported anyone interstate for purposes of prostitution. The government does not dispute that Puffy's amateur porn was creative, intricate, and highly choreographed, but nevertheless contends that the filming was not expressive conduct entitled to First Amendment protection. So the Southern District of New York is saying that Puffy is not protected by the First Amendment for the videos that he, Jane, and Cassie agreed to. The Supreme Court has made clear that sexually explicit material need not have a narrow, succinctly articulable message to be expressive within the meaning of the First Amendment. Another case was also ruled that way in the Fifth Circuit. Check this part out. Check this part out. The Southern District of New York's proffered general interest in controlling prostitution is not implicated in this unprecedented case that involves no minors, no coercion, no exploitation of vulnerable individuals, no pimps profiteering from sex work, but rather only grown adults engaging in fully consensual sexual conduct. And a John Puffy who didn't even have sex with the prostitutes. No substantial government interest is furthered by applying the Mann Act in these circumstances. The California Supreme Court held that punishment of a producer for making an adult film has little, if anything, to do with the purpose of combating prostitution. Now, let's take a break, and then we're going to get into the Rule 33, asking for a new trial. Who should get Puffy's first interview? Put it in the live chat. Who should get Puffy's first interview? Goddamn Alicia Buck. Caleb, what up? Pretty girl CT. I see, where you been, pretty girl? Where you been? I ain't seen you in a minute. Where you been at? Teaser should get it first. All right. Rule 33. This is asking for, yo, Sean, what up, man? I see you, Sean. So Rule 33, this is asking for a new trial. Rule 33 recognizes that if a trial court concludes for any reason that the trial has resulted in a miscarriage of justice, the court has broad powers to grant a new trial. The Second Circuit made the quoted statement from Archer in connection with a motion to set aside the verdict based on the weight of the evidence alone. That is obviously not the basis for the motion here. As the rule itself states, defendants may seek a new trial based on newly discovered evidence or any other ground. Puffy is not claiming the convictions are contrary to the weight of the evidence or asking this court to weigh the witness's credibility to assess the claim of perjured testimony. He is arguing retroactive misjoinder. This court has discretion to grant a new trial on that ground. Thomas McCrae, what up, man? Tonali Williams, what up? Lisa Hamilton, what's up? The court has discretion to grant a new trial on that ground if the interest of justice so requires. The ultimate test on a Rule 33 motion is whether letting a guilty verdict stand would be manifest injustice. Given all the inflammatory evidence admitted to prove the RICO and sex trafficking charges, the interests of justice warrant a new trial on the Mann Act counts. Claims of spillover prejudice cannot be summarily rejected. The government's factual premise is wrong. There are decisions granting new trials due to spillover prejudice after a mixed jury verdict. Although the Second Court has never reversed the conviction based on spillover prejudice after a mixed jury verdict, it squarely held that Hamilton's three-part test applies. While new trials based on retroactive joinder after mixed verdicts are rare, so is Puffy's case is rare. There has never been a case remotely like this one. Most of the government's evidence in this case was aimed at proving more serious RICO charges and the SEX trafficking charges. That was the most of the evidence. Huge pieces of evidence would be inadmissible to prove the simpler Mann Act counts. There was a substantial possibility that the jury's guilty verdict on the Mann Act counts was affected by spillover prejudice from all the inflammatory evidence it saw. Judge Submaranian, you have discretion to order a new trial for that reason. And in the interest of justice, Judge Submarinian, you should. Judge Submarinian, you should grant an acquittal or at least a new trial. Page 29 of 30. And this is all Puffy's lawyers signing the document. Puffy gonna get acquitted. Puffy gonna get acquitted. So I'm sure that the losers, the Southern District of New York, are gonna probably be offering a rebuttal in the next day or two to rebut this. And then Judge Submarinian is gonna have to make a decision. And we're gonna see what it do. Shout out to everybody, man. They were trying to give Diddy life for this, man. FZA, man. Throw the whole case out, Sean. FZA the God. Man, he could have possibly went to life without the possibility of parole for this, man. Look at my man right there. Dick riding for a job with Diddy. I don't need no job with Puff, man. I don't need no job, fake profile boy. I'm a foundational black American helping my brother, who's also a foundational black American. I ain't like you, chump. Get your fake ass off my channel. I don't need a job from Puff, man. I got a job. Got my own media company, man. That's why you watching, sucker, with your girl. Tell your girl I'm gonna call her back later. Hit that like button, y'all. Put it on 200. Put me on 200. They said one of Diddy's lawyers left the case. Is this true? If so, how come? Which one? Andrew Gutierrez. Dennis, what up, man? One of Puffy's lawyers left the case? I didn't hear that. That's news to me. I don't know. Shout out to all Puffy's lawyers. Like I said earlier, I had an interview set up with Alexandra Shapiro a few weeks back before Puffy put in his other motion for bail that got denied. Me and her were gonna get together. She emailed me back and we spoke, and I told her, let's wait till it's all said and done, and then me and you will sit down. I can't wait to interview Alexandra Shapiro. I can't wait to interview Tenny Garagos. I can't wait to interview Mark Agnifilo, Xavier Donaldson, Nicole Westmoreland. I'm interviewing all of them. And definitely Puff. Puff's first interview will be on the podcast with Soul. 1000%. What's his name? Puffy had 2 black lawyers. Which one? All the lawyers are listed on the back of this document. All Puffy's lawyers are listed on the back of this document. So I don't know what y'all talking about. Nicole Westmoreland, Xavier Donaldson, Brian Steele, Anna Estevello, Mark Agnifilo, Tenny Garagos. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I'm gonna interview Laptop man. Jason Driscoll is laptop man. Yeah, Mel, he late, man. Monica Carter. Anthony Rico was the black guy who left the case in February, and he got replaced with Brian Steele. No one wanted Anthony on the case anyway. No recent attorneys on this. Yeah, everybody's still there. Let's say that Diddy is sentenced to between 5 and 8 years. What percentage chance do you think? Listen, fake profile, IS0. First of all, before we even dignify your question, you have to lay out your argument as to why Puffy is going to get 60 months to 96 months. Where? How do you justify on the Mann Act that he gets 60 months to 96 months? So we're not even going to answer your question. We don't do that on this channel, IS0. We don't do that shit over here. We talk about facts. We already went through that yesterday. We went through the sentencing yesterday. Yeah, I know he is, Dennis. I know he is. But we still gotta, you can't let, you gotta address people. Nah, but you putting up some stupid ass numbers, so we're not even gonna deal with that. Get your ass up out of here. How do you even justify writing them kind of numbers? Keep It G News says the max he gonna get is 36 months. Everybody go follow my man on his YouTube channel, Keep It G News, Sean Mosley. He's been doing a lot of reviews of my videos. Go support him. Baltimore, from Baltimore. Hey, Sean, you foundational Black American? Can you link up with Act for Puff sentencing? Yeah, me and Act gonna get it together. Did talking before the trial started. The trial and attorney left to leave. Yeah. That was the dude that left. Listen, go follow my man Sean, Keep It G News, another foundational Black American YouTube channel, Black Male, FBA, from Baltimore. Go follow his channel. He supports this platform. We support his. Alicia Butler says, I'm sticking with time served, free Puff. I like that one, I like that one, Alicia. I think you're right. FZA to God, time. Everybody's saying time served. Matt Nixon, Spitting Fire. How good the new motion get here? Late play in my coffee. What's going on, Corey? What gets me is that people are so okay with the government bringing these charges as if they're above the law. Did anyone hear what testified to understand? What was testified to understand? Don't be surprised, Sean G, if he gets sentenced way outside the guidelines. We are dealing with the U.S. government. Nah, it's gonna be the guidelines. Spitting Fire, we went through this yesterday. Spitting Fire. I don't know if you watched my video yesterday. This was the order. This is from Judge Submaranian. See his name? And I know it's backwards, you can't read it. July the 9th. Judge Submaranian. Okay? This was an order to the defense and to the prosecution in connection with the sentencing proceeding in this case. I, Judge Submaranian, the court, would find it helpful to have available data on sentences imposed where, number one, the primary or sole conviction was for the Mann Act, USC 2421. The base offense level under the sentencing guidelines. Under the sentencing guidelines. Under the sentencing guidelines was calculated under 2G1.1. He's asking, I ain't going through this shit with y'all, man. Y'all, you guys allow yourselves to be influenced by anybody. I did federal prison time. I did fed time. I was on a compound with 1,100 dudes. All of them sentenced according to the guidelines. Every last one of them. Why would this one be different? He's a first offender. Y'all getting involved. Y'all getting hypnotized and influenced by his celebrity, by sensationalism. Puff ain't getting no more than 18 months, man. There's no reason for him. What is the reason for him to go outside the guideline range to the upside? Why would he need to get an upward departure? To me, a downward departure is more warranted below the guideline range. And people say, oh, they don't got to go by the guidelines. They don't. Yes, they do. Shut the fuck up. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. I got sentenced to the guideline range. I don't think, check my man out, FZA to God. I think the judge is making him sit there till sentencing for what he did to Cassie. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. July the 2nd, 2025, I was there in the courtroom. Judge Submaranian was getting ready to let Puffy go home that day. I was there. We all said it. I was talking to Charlucci the day before yesterday. All of us who were there, we all saw that Judge Submaranian was like, he was like celebrating Puff's win. That's how it almost felt. He was getting ready to let him go home. Maureen Comey and the Southern District of New York blocked that.
Okay, I'm out.
All right, man, you gone?
Yeah.
Enjoy your day, man.
Likewise, brother.
Enjoy your day.
You, man.
That's all right. You good? All right, take care.
You take care, my brother.
All right. Judge Submaranian is not racist. He don't hate black people. He wasn't unfair. He was very fair. He's probably a fan of Biggie. He's probably a fan of Puff. Judge Submaranian is only 45 years old. He's 10 years younger than Puff. 10 years younger than me. Puffy got up in court and told him to his face. He said, Judge, I think you're doing a great job. And I thank you. I saw that. I was there. He ain't racist. He's not biased. He called a fair trial. He called it right down the middle. Right down the middle. I was there every fucking day. That's just niggas, foundational black Americans with inferiority complexes and with second-class citizenship mentalities, victims of living in the past, and got a victim mentality that everything that don't go their way is somehow tied to racism, is somehow tied to them being black. Bullshit. A lot of times y'all niggas don't end up being nothing foundational black Americans because you ain't shit. You ain't got no hustle. You ain't got no dedication. You ain't got no perseverance. You fat. You out of shape. You out of breath. You can't concentrate. You don't stick with nothing long enough to get the results. You give up and quit on yourself. You want somebody to hook you up, put me on, put me down, help me out, give me some. You want maximum reward with minimal effort. That's why you ain't nowhere in life. Don't come at me with that. I'm an excuse killer. I'm an excuse killer. I lost $1.2 million, 965,000 cash. Wait a minute, well, nah, that's a lie. That's a lie. 656 and 150. 656. 656 and 275. 934. 930. I lost 934,000 cash. Real estate business, 9 properties, house, custody of my son, and I was goddamn 45 years old and went to prison. And they wanted me to be a rat like you. They wanted me to sign a 5K1 like you. I said, man, I can't do that. Hurry up, send me to prison, hurry up, let's get it over with. Went and got out and was homeless at 47 years old with a felony conviction, with brown skin. I don't got the complexion for the protection. And I'm a foundational black American male. My mother picked cotton for 75 cents a day. And my grandfather on my father's side was a sharecropper, a slave his whole life. I didn't beg a motherfucker for nothing. I didn't go ask for no welfare, no food stamps, no Section 8, no government cheese, no goddamn handout, no nothing. I picked up a squeegee with a bucket of water with some Dawn in there and a mop, and I started me a window cleaning business at 47 years old and came all the way back. You understand? I didn't go, ooh, poor me. The white man got me down. White man, oh man. The United States got me fucked up. The white man. Fuck out of here. I was gonna come back because I'm better than all y'all, including the white man. I'm better than everybody, all 8 billion of y'all. I don't like none of y'all. I don't trust none of y'all. I don't want to talk to them. I don't even like people. I don't even like the human being. All 8 billion of y'all, because y'all ain't no good. You all lie. You're scared to say yeah. You say yeah when you want to say no. You're scared to express how you truly feel. You fake. You stab people in the back. You cut their throat. You gossip about people. You steal. You lie. I don't like none of y'all. That's why I be by myself. I ain't got no friends. I don't want no friends. I be by myself. I be by myself. Always crying. Shut the fuck up. Crying. Always crying. Keith Raymond, that's your opinion about the judge, and to call people names who don't agree with you ain't cool. You was in the courtroom, Keith? What day you was in the courtroom? What day you was in the courtroom, Keith Raymond? Which day you was there? Which day you was there? Which day you was there, Keith Raymond? And then what is your, give us your context. Put in the comment section your argument for disagreeing that Judge Submaranian ain't racist and he ran a fair trial. Put it in the comment section. And which days were you there in court? Put it in the comment section. Special K, which day was you in the courtroom? Which day? Which day was you in the courtroom that you saw Judge Submaranian? And where did you see me at? You already know I was in the overflow. What's your argument, Special K, for why he ain't fair? Why? Because you want Puffy out and he ain't do what Special K wants, so now he ain't fair? Puffy's crime falls under Zone D. Let me educate y'all. Dr. Motivate, they had the pajama pants on with one crop, and it doesn't matter. Right, Special K, that's what I thought. It don't matter because your ass wasn't there. So shut up about commenting on what Judge Submaranian was. This is the sentencing guideline table. Okay? This is what I was sentenced to. I did time in federal prison. Zone A, Zone B, Zone C. If you have Zone A, Zone B, or Zone C, you can get probation or home confinement. If your base offense level is in Zone D, if your base offense level is in Zone D, it's mandatory incarceration. Puffy's base offense level is 14. It's in Zone D. They are totally justified in incarcerating him. Could Judge Submaranian said, I'm gonna let you go home and deal with your case from home? Yes. Have other people charged with the same charge been allowed to post bail? Yes. But that don't mean what she said back. The crime wasn't the same. I was listening to you every day by not giving him bail. Then Keith Raymond, you can't. I've always been saying that he wasn't. I've always been saying he Judge Submaranian was fair. I did a whole video on it. So you couldn't have been listening to me and come to the conclusion that he ain't fair. Couldn't have been, because I said he was fair. I've been saying he ran a fair trial. I did a whole video on it. Mandatory incarceration. Okay, Zone D. The only way you get from Zone D up to Zone C or Zone B is you gotta become a rat. You gotta become an informant. Like Young Thug, like Gunna, like Woody, like Tekashi 6ix9ine, right? Like them niggas, like T.I. If you become a rat, you can get an upward departure. 5K1, you gotta provide substantial assistance. They wanted me to provide substantial assistance. They said, Sean, we want you to wear wires, we want you to wear cameras, we want you to turn in your clients. If we call you and want you to go into a business, into a store and film, I said, man, I ain't doing that shit, man. I ain't doing that. No, I ain't. No, I ain't. No, I ain't. No, I ain't. I ain't doing that. They said, well, you going to prison. I said, well, that's all right then. Hurry up. Hurry up and send me. Hurry up. Puff gonna open a chain of brothels when he get out of jail. Yeah. It's okay. It's okay. Puffy is benefiting from this jail time. Special K, he was not charged with the excuse the judge is giving for denying bail, Mark, even if he's not being fair. Special K, he's not charged. He was not charged with the excuse the judge was gonna let him go, man. I was there, Special K. And I know you support my platform, Special K. Keith Raymond, I know you support my platform. Y'all been fucking with me the whole time and I appreciate it, but I don't like people that wasn't there to make definitive statements. You know what I'm saying? Like a nigga get hit by a car over there by Burger King and I'm here on this video. So after this video, I run over there and say, yo man, I saw the whole thing. The car hit him first. He ain't even, nah, that's a lie, because I don't know, I wasn't there. The best thing I could do is just be quiet. This is the sentencing guideline table, man. This is what he's gonna be sentenced by. I know TMZ ain't showed you this. I know Tisa Tells ain't showed you this. I know CNN ain't showed you this. ABC ain't showed you this. Ain't nobody showed you that but me. This is the sentencing guideline table. This is the same thing. This is the same document he asked both of them to send to him so that he can sentence Puff according to these charges. If he wasn't gonna go with the guideline, he would have never asked for it. He got to go with the guideline. I bet you he go with the guideline. Tired of you niggas, man. That's why the foundational black America can't make no progress, because he's too busy crying and whining about what the white man done did 200 years ago, 300 years ago. And nigga, you living today. You didn't live back then. I didn't drink from no colored only water fountains. I didn't ride on the back of the bus. I didn't plow no mules. I didn't pick no cotton. I didn't goddamn work in the fields all day. I had the best opportunity in the world. My mother gave me goddamn the best opportunity in the world to succeed. And if I didn't succeed, it'd be all my fault. Do I not experience discrimination and based on my color? Absolutely. But do I let that stop me? Hell no. Because I'm better than everybody. I'm better than all 8 billion of y'all. I don't like none of y'all. Niggas always crying. White man this, white man. That's your excuse because you ain't shit. You weak. You weak. You a crybaby. You weak. You can't handle adversity. You want something for nothing. You want maximum reward with minimal effort. And you just a crybaby. And you got no, you can't plan. You can't concentrate on nothing because you smoke weed and drink and watch porn and masturbate, smoke hookah, vape, and you addicted to social media. And you listen to music all day, every day. From the time you wake up to the time you go to sleep, you listen to music and you can't get shit done. You got no discipline. You got no structure in your life. You go to sleep 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. You wake up 11:30 in the afternoon. That's why you ain't shit. You can't never compete with me. And that's why I'm running circles around damn near everybody on the planet. I'm the best at, I'm better than everybody. I focus. I know how to focus. And I learned that going to prison. Prison helped me. Taught me how to discipline myself, use self-restraint, concentrate, eat clean, exercise. I work out every day. A lot of y'all got diabetes. A lot of y'all got high cholesterol. Your A1C high. You got a big tractor trailer truck tire around your stomach. You fat, you overweight, you sick, you take medication. And that's your fault. You can't even discipline yourself to eat right. You smoke weed, your breath stink, your fingers smell like weed, got mental health issues. Hey, FZA to God, they wake up at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, stay up to 4 o'clock in the morning every night and wonder why they can't get a job or start a business. Niggas is corny, man. I don't like y'all. We not the same. Just because you foundational black American and I'm a foundational black American, that don't mean we the same or that I like you. Because I had some foundational black Americans cooperate against me, help send me to prison, take my son away from me. Fuck all y'all. I don't like nobody. I don't even like the human being. I hate people. I don't even like people. Very intelligent by not going to prison. Look at her. Now, Special K is going to be condescending toward me because I went to prison, yet I've been more successful than you probably in your whole life 2 times. Don't come for me. You started to sound like Ticket TV. Put the pipe down. I don't sound like nobody, nigga. But Sean G. I'm the best at this shit. Don't look down on me. You could never compare yourself to me. You're not even on my level. Prison or no prison. Prison was my PhD. If you haven't forgot. If you forgot. I got my bachelor's already in accounting. I'm a trained accountant. Master's degree in finance. And then I went to prison for the PhD. And I look better than you. That's right. And you on here with a fake profile name. This ain't no fake profile. This is my real life. This is my real life. You can't make me ashamed for what I done been through. Prison saved my life. And some of my best friends that I still contact with today is niggas I met in prison. That's right. That's right. That's right. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Work out every day. I work out every day. I don't miss a day. That's why I look how I look. I'm 56 years old, and I got honeys in my DM in their 20s and 30s and 40s want to fuck me. For free. I ain't even got to pay. I ain't got the cash app like you. You got a cash app for the kitty cat. She gonna let me hit it on the strength. And she gonna cook for me. And she gonna cook some collard greens for me with some pork in there when I hit it. To my girl Angie's place. The podcast was sold, Angie. She gonna let me hit it for free. She said, Sean, baby, you ain't gotta give me nothing. You just got to ask for it. She gonna make me some collard greens too with some pork smoked neck bone in there. And after I eat, she gonna let me hit it again. She's gonna let me hit it again. I ain't got to pay for no kitty cat. Some of y'all watch porn. Y'all watch porn and jerk off 4 times a day by 1 o'clock in the afternoon. You done masturbated so much, you done rubbed the skin off your joint. You done rubbed the skin off your joint. I ain't gotta do that. I ain't gotta do that. I'ma watch porn with her. I'ma watch porn with her. I'ma tell her, say, yo, put some porn on. And go make me some collard greens. Hurry up. Hurry up. You know what she gonna do? She gonna go make me some collard greens. She gonna hurry up. You know why? Because I told her to. That's why. That's why. That's why. Hurry up. Yo, go get me a glass of milk. Hurry up. And get some cookies. Give me some of them cookies right there. The Oreo joints. Just give me 2, because I don't need all that sugar. Hurry up. Go right now. Hurry up. Go put them boy shorts on. The ones I like, the green ones. Go put them on. Hurry up. Go right now. Hurry up. Twan Wilkes. Gee, I have gotten positive content from you. That's why I listen to you, but this is totally out of character. Get your ass up out of here. Bye. If you don't like it, leave. But I'm supposed to be one-dimensional robot for Twan Wilkes. I'm supposed to do one type of content. Restriction. You only can talk about one type of content, one certain way. Nigga, I'm multifaceted, man. I'm dope like that. I'm fly, nigga. I adapt. I got many styles, man. I grew up in the 80s, man. I got many styles. I don't bite nobody's style. I got my own style. If you don't like what I'm talking about, leave. Turn it off. Bye. 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 No, don't disrespect us that you ask us our opinion, Sean. I never downed you. I actually wrote to Puffy about you when you get through. Right, but you, Special K, like I said, you come on here making statements about parts of the trial that you wasn't there. And everybody does that. Vlad TV, he do it. I didn't see Vlad nowhere at the trial. Nancy Grace, the Art of Dialogue, all these media outlets talk about the trial and what went on at the trial and who said this and they was intending that, and they was never there. And I was there from the whole trial. And I called it right down the middle. I called it right down the middle. If it was a bad day for Puff, I said, man, it's a bad day for Puff. If it was a good day for the Southern District of New York, I gave them their props. You understand? Because I was there. But y'all not going to come on my platform telling me about some shit that happened at the trial and you wasn't there. I was in the courtroom. I was there. I'm in the transcript. Judge Submarinian know me. I used to be on the elevator. I was on the elevator with Maureen Comey, me and her by ourselves. Me and Maureen Comey, I got on the elevator. Where was I at? I was coming off of, we was coming in. And 3 of us got on. Me, Maureen Comey, and some other person. It was a stranger. So I got on the elevator, boom. I turned around, I hit the button, the 24. Bang! Boom. So I said to myself, oh shit, that's Maureen Comey. So I put my back to the wall so I could look at her, right? And she was there like this. She knew who I was. She knew exactly who I was because they was talking about me in the courtroom trying to get me kicked out the court. And she used to see me every day, well not every day, on some days when I would go and do my lives, Maureen Comey, Emily Johnson, Slavic, Smizer, all of them, they would all walk together. And they would look at me one time. They would look at me like this, and then they put their head down. So they knew who I was. But anyway, so we going up on the elevator. We get to a floor. The doors open. And the stranger girl got off. And the doors closed. And it was Maureen Comey on the elevator together. So I'm looking at her. She ain't looking. She on her phone like this. The only people that can have phones in that building upstairs are lawyers, prosecutors, and employees. They took our cell phones. Any YouTuber, Instagrammer, media person, they take your phones and you can't have no phones in the courtroom. Only them. And me and her rode the elevator up, and I think she got off, she might have got off at like 23 or something like that. And then I stayed on. Yep. But I was there. You know what I'm saying? I bought Nicole Westmoreland coffee in the cafeteria. I bought Nicole Westmoreland breakfast. I bought Xavier Donaldson coffee. Alexandra Shapiro would see me in the hallway. Sean, how you doing? We watch your videos. Jason Driscoll. Jason Driscoll in the hallway. Sean, thanks for the shout out on your channel. I saw all of them. So can't nobody tell me nothing about the trial. I was there. Yeah, Tisha tells they ran her out of New York. They chased her out of New York. They was gonna whoop her ass. Them other YouTubers was gonna whoop her ass the day of the verdict. She didn't go back up into 26 because she was too embarrassed to be in front of Puffy and Puffy's family. She came to the overflow thinking it was gonna be safe. But them niggas was on her ass. They was on her ass. She was scared to get on the elevator because her security was downstairs. Tony Allison. So the thing Diddy's charged with, he hasn't done, but that's okay with everybody to be charged wrong and still be in jail. Y'all would be okay to be in jail and charge you. I want to buy a Dodge Viper Hennessy. Yeah. I feel the judge has been ruling under pressure. Next ruling, I hope he does the right thing. To down old self be true. And a first rule. Yours truly, that's what? Got to admit you got a problem. Step number 1. We have to admit. Now, if we're not allowed to have our own opinions, then just say that, sweetie, and I will keep mine to myself. I won't be mad or feel some type of way. It's your platform. You made me feel like I was there too, Sean G. Bullet House. Special K, you know, what irked me about your comment, and the same with Keith Raymond, is y'all said that Judge Submarinian is biased against Puff, that he's racist. I get this all of the time. And I know that the impetus for that comment, your motive for feeling that way, is because Puffy didn't get bail. And you're probably black, foundation of black America. Puffy is foundation of black American, and you know the legal system done jerk niggas around for hundreds of years. So immediately you go to, oh, he biased, they racist. That's a lie. You know, you can't broad brush everyone for the acts or the occurrences of a few when you wasn't even there. Why would Puffy stand up in the courtroom and speak to the judge and say to him, he did this, he took his hands, Puffy said, Judge, I thank you. I think you've been very fair, and I think you're doing a great job. This is from the nigga facing life without the possibility of parole. He told him that. Then you got me. I'm there at the trial. I'm looking for what you saying, Special K, Keith Raymond. I'm looking for the biasness. I'm looking for the racism. I've gone through the federal system and I didn't see it. When the Southern District of New York got out of line and needed to be chastised, he did it. When Mark Agnifilo and them got out of line and needed to be chastised, he did it. And I saw him get ready to let Puffy go home that Friday. You know, do I believe that he is being influenced by upper management? Yes, 100%. But racist and all, I didn't see that. I didn't see that. So that's what bothers me with y'all who ain't even been in New York in your life, let alone in the courtroom. I know people on drugs that's doing better than sober people. Talk about it, Jay. Talk about it, Jay. Sean G, all these black conspiracy theorists who want Puff to go to prison because they think he killed Biggie and Tupac are crazy. Peel the skin off. Hey, Malcolm, they done rubbed the skin off, man. And when they get in the shower, it burns. That judge ain't it. We just gonna have to disagree. What is he gonna say, Judge? He could have said nothing. If he really felt something about the judge, he could have said nothing. He could have said nothing. I was there, man. I was in the middle of that trial. I was in the middle of that trial. I'm in the motherfucking transcript. Me. Yes, I am. They was talking about putting me out of there. But the sun, moon, and stars said, nah, Sean G, because I live right. I do the right thing. I don't fuck people over. I do the right thing. I live right. I don't want no more trouble. I don't commit no crime. I'm not a gangster. I'm not a criminal. I'm not an outlaw. I'm not a rebel. I live right. I'm a single father of a 14-year-old son, and I mind my business. I don't do no crime. I don't want to go back to prison. I'm not a tough guy. None of that. I quit. I quit being a criminal. I quit. I give up. That federal case I went through, That shit is real. They made a believer out of me. I don't do no wrong. I don't hang with niggas that commit crime. I don't talk on the phone with niggas that commit crime. I don't even like people. I don't like the human being. I don't like no human being on the planet. All 8 billion of y'all. Ain't none of y'all no good. I don't like nobody. I just like myself. Shirley Galloway, I see East New York, 318. I took and still take your statement about the trial as fact. When I spoke on it, I then share your videos to back up my statements. Appreciate you, Bullet House. I'm gonna go down there on October 3rd. I want to get a shot of Puffy if they let him walk. Sidebar, how they blaming Puff for Pac and how big, how all that's lies, man. Diddy said that because at that time he thought justice was going to be fair. This was in the middle of the trial, Special K, baby. Where you from, Special K? This was in the middle of the trial, Special K. This was in the middle of the trial. He didn't even know if he was going to get acquitted. He might have got fucking convicted. He said this in the middle of the trial. He told the judge that. Puffy told the judge that around week 3, 4, 5. Was that around the time? I forget. But he didn't even know if he was gonna get beat. He was gonna beat it. Thank you, Shirley Galloway. Yeah, I'm a good person. I'm a good person. I just don't mess with me. I don't like. I'm not a violent man. I don't shoot people. I don't kill people. But if you fuck with me, I can get violent. But I'm not a violent person. I'm a very amicable guy. I'm good-hearted. I'm humorous. I got a sunny disposition. I look on the bright side of things. You know, I'm a happy person. But I got an anger problem. I got a bad anger temper problem when I get mad. I'm a Pisces man. I'm a Pisces man, and I'm very sensitive. Pisces man, I'm a Pisces man. I'm very sensitive. I hold grudges. I like revenge. I get revenge. I hold grudges forever. I don't never forget when you wrong me. Can't never get back with me. Once you fuck me one time, it's over. Pisces man. Greg Francis, you ain't got no anger problem, and you still didn't pick up on the judge's bullshit, stacking and macking on some straight up bullshit today. Okay. The problem is with the judge. He deemed him as a violent abuser. That's why he's denied bail, so I believe he's going to use mid, not lowest. You went through some backstabbing shit, Sean. Don't blame you. Greg, they blame Puff for everything, right? We aren't either, Sean. At the end of the day, self-control is everything. Do you have a certain way to deal with anger or when it's inconvenient to be angry? I don't know how to deal. I've been angry all. I don't know. I'm not perfect, man. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing. That's why I don't bother people. That's why I don't bother people. I don't want to be bothered. I go from mild-mannered gentleman to furious in an instant. It ain't no gradual build-up. It's from happy, mild-mannered gentleman to furious, livid anger. Like that. Intelligent Hoodlum, what up? Yes, he do. Yes, he do. But I'm a happy guy. I'd rather be happy. I don't walk around with a prison on my face. I don't walk around with an ice grill. I speak first. I hold the door open for people at the supermarket, at Walgreens. I say good morning to strangers. I'm that kind of guy. I'm a nice guy. I help people out. But, you know, I'm a good guy. I'm a good guy. I just hate when a motherfucker fuck with me, though. That's what I don't like. Who is this? Volge writes, Yale LJ. The judge could have used discretion not to allow the information that prejudiced the jewelry, only to have it strike it in the right before the verdict. That's one example. I don't know what the hell you talking about. You talking about some jewelry. Sean, I'm so glad that you are using your platform to share with us what's really going on. Most of the media outlets are spreading lies and giving misinformation. The judge deemed him more than once as a violent abuser and denied his bill if he didn't have any bias. He wouldn't have allowed the prosecutors. The judge didn't deem him as a violent abuser. The fucking video when he beat Cassie's ass by the elevator, that made him a violent abuser. Stop blaming the judge. Don't do that. Don't do that. The video hurt Puff. Them 13 seconds that they kept in the loop, the judge ain't had nothing to do with that. Puffy did that. Puff is guilty of assault against Cassie. He's guilty of domestic violence against Cassie. The judge didn't do that video. The hell is you talking about? Right. The judge, how the fuck did the judge do? The video did. He didn't, the video didn't even deem it. It showed it. But that don't mean he gotta go to prison for 30 motherfucking years for whooping her ass in front of the elevator. That don't mean he got to go to life without the possibility of parole for whooping her ass in front of the elevator. Oh. Puff's still my man though. Puff's still my man though. He's still my man though. The judge never questioned. Get your ass up out of here. Now you talking crazy. You living in the past. You must be suffering from some breakup somewhere. Some past childhood trauma. You talking about shit that passed. We talking about Rule 29, acquittal, Rule 33, new trial. You talking about some sequester in the jury. The trial is over. Monique, what up? Monique said, I'm her. Monique said, I'm her. All my female followers, they love to come on here and look at me. They love to come on here and look at me. Say, let me get on here and see what this nigga, how good this nigga look again today. Then all the honeys get off and they say, y'all see, you see Sean G today? They be calling their girlfriends while they have me on, they put me on the big TV in the living room. And they say, girl, he on there. Look at his teeth. Look how pretty his teeth is. Look at his skin color. Look at how he talk. I want to give him some. All my female followers, that's what they do. Then they come in my DM and tell me to come to goddamn North Carolina and Tennessee, come to Philly, come to Baltimore, come to Cincinnati, come to LA. Say, I want to give you some. So I say, yeah, I know you do. I know you want to give me some. And you know what else I tell them? I say, you ain't the only one. It's a bunch of y'all want to give me some. Bunch of y'all want to give me some. Because they want to see if I'm lying. They want to see if I'm telling the truth. They want to see if I'm telling the truth. If it's really as good as I say it is. And you know it is. You know it is. All of them want to give me something. They come on, they say, Sean, I want to give you something. I say, yeah, I know. It's a bunch of y'all do. It's a bunch of y'all do. Some of them be aggressive, say, I fly up there. I come to New Jersey. I say, yeah, I know you will. I know you will. Some of them want me to fly out of state. They want me to come down there to the Caribbean. I don't know, I might be turning into a sex symbol or something, man. Honeys just want me to hit it for no reason. Just make sure if I come, make sure you have a brand new bottle of baby oil, because I want to try that. We got to try the baby oil joint. Rod D, what up? Thanks for your channel membership. My nigga Rod D. Everybody shout out Rod D. How many of all my female subscribers, how many of y'all want to rub baby oil on me? How many of y'all want me to rub some on you? Just the female, just my female subscribers. How many of y'all want to rub baby oil on me? I know you want to rub it on my bald head. You want to rub it on my bald head, don't you? I know you do. I know you do. Nigga, money though. I'm money though. Look at Monique. When I come over there, when I go by the honey house, she gonna open the door. She gonna say sidebar, and she gonna be she gonna have the baby oil like this. Sidebar. Come on in, Sean G podcast with soul. She gonna have some goddamn collard greens on the stove with the smoked neck bone in there, with the motherfucking baked macaroni and cheese out the oven, with the cornbread in the cast iron skillet. That real cornbread. Walking around in her thongs, boy shorts. She can say, you want something to eat? Want me to fix you something to eat? Let me know when you want me to make you something to eat. I said, nah, I don't want nothing to eat. Bring me something to drink though. Bring me some milk. Bring me a glass of milk. Some white milk. 8 grams of protein per cup. I'm crazy, man. I say anything. No, to be honest, I'm sick of them playing in Puffy's face at this point. Hollywood T locked in. Los Angeles in the building. Tony, I see you, Tony. Man, I ain't got no confidence. Hey, what's the subject? Hey, what's the subject? I ain't got no confidence. I'm arrogant and conceited, both at the same time. Honeys love that. Honeys love when a nigga arrogant and conceited and confident. She can't resist it. That's what she want. She don't want no humble nigga. A woman don't want no humble, mild-mannered gentleman. She want an arrogant, conceited nigga that's gonna dominate her. That's what she like. That's gonna put her in her place. That's what she want. By her very nature. By her very nature. We ain't doing no smoked turkey, man. There ain't no goddamn collard greens with no smoked turkey. Know that shit? What you got? What you got in your collard greens? Smoked turkey wings? Nah, I don't want to. Throw that shit in the garbage. And go to the store, get some smoked neck bone pork joint. Some collard greens in there. Black eyed peas, and put the pork smoked neck bone in there too. Free puff, man. Free puff. Toothpick fell out. Hey, Katem, don't do that, man. I'm a pork eater, man. I eat swine, man. I eat that swine, man. Swine is fine all the time. And all I'm going to tell you is give me mine. Fine. Swine is fine all the time. And all I can tell you, man, is hurry up and give me mine. Give me that swine. I ain't on no medication. I don't even go to the doctor. When I go to the doctor, right? Whenever I go to the doctor and he see me when he come in there, or if it's a she, I went to the doctor the last time. That nigga took off his stethoscope. When he saw me, he took off his stethoscope and his white coat and said, Sean, hey, you put this on and shit. Tell me how to look like you. Because you look better than me. You in better shape than me. I said, yeah, I know I am. I know I am. The doctors be fat. They don't look like nothing. They don't work out. Goddamn Hollywood T. See, that's why I like you. I'm arrogant and conceited myself. Two qualities that made me the seven-figure CEO. And I like when you say, hocus pocus, keep the focus. That's my shit. Man, shout out to Hollywood T, Los Angeles in the building. See, the doctor, he under massive amounts of stress. He got goddamn $800,000 in student loans. He got an oversized house that he don't never be in because he working 15 hours a day. He got a wife who's unhappy. She's having an affair. They got so much money, he don't spend no time with her. He ain't hitting it right no more. She's having an affair with somebody. The doctor got erectile dysfunction because he's under so much stress. He got a mistress that he paying her rent, but her car. You understand? He don't work out, and he out of shape. The doctor more fucked up than the patient. But he fronting it off, riding around in his Audi and his Mercedes-Benz, trying to make it seem like he got a better life than what he do. But behind the scenes, he want to be me. He said, Sean, how I look like that? Can I work out with you? I said, nah, hell no. You can't work out with me. I work out by myself. I don't like working out with nobody. I work out by myself. Hollywood T, thank you for my super chat, baby. I rolled by the goddamn. Look at this shit, man. Look at all these veins and shit. Look at my veins, right? When I work out, when I finish working out, my veins be everywhere. Look at all them veins and shit. That's how you know a nigga in good shape. So the other day, I ride past this doctor's office, or it was a blood donation clinic, and it was like 3 phlebotomists. When I rolled by, I had just come from working out, and I was going into the store next to the clinic, and one of the phlebotomists looked out and saw my arm and saw all them veins, and she came out. She was bad too. She had on some scrubs, big ass titties. She had the little water balloon in the front. You know how they had a water balloon in the scrub right there? Fat thighs, slim waist. She said, ain't you Sean G from the podcast? So I said, yeah. She said, can I draw your blood? She said, look at your veins. All them veins was in my arm. I was cut up. And I said, baby. Then before I could even answer her, 2 more phlebotomists came out and said, nah, I want to draw your blood, Sean G. And she said, nah, I want to draw your blood, Sean G. They was finna get into it about which one was gonna draw my blood because I was all veined up. I said, hold on, baby. I said, listen, all of y'all could draw my blood, man. All y'all could draw my blood, man. So I went inside. They all started drawing. They was getting all close to me, making sure I smell their perfume. One of them was rubbing a titty on my arm. I was like, yeah, all right. I said, you like that, don't you? She said, yeah, I do. I said, yeah, I know you do. I know you do. So when they was drawing the blood and the blood was coming out, my blood was so strong and so pure, it exploded the needle and jumped back in my arm. And my blood told the phlebotomist, said, we too good to be in a tube like that. We gotta stay in Sean G body. My blood wouldn't even come out and say, it's too good, too pure. And then they all said, I heard one of the phlebotomists say, she said, I want to give him some. And the one said, who? Sean G? She said, yeah. She said, I want to give him some too. Then the other one looked at the other and they said, let's both give him some. Let's both give him some. So that's what it be. I be having them kind of problems and shit, man. They had a fat water balloon in the front. You know the water balloon in the front? You know the water balloon? Who know about that water balloon? You know that water balloon they be having in the front? Yes, sir. This is my life, man. The water balloon. I don't need no Viagra. I ain't got no erectile dysfunction. My jam is money. My shit work. Everything on my body work. Special K, you know about that water. You know that water balloon? I ain't gonna stand up. But you know them, honey. When she walk in the store, you look at her grill, and next thing you do is do this. Check that water balloon out. You ever do that? To all the fellas, you see a honey walking down the street, you be looking, you be chilling like this, then you look, you be like, see that water balloon. And if that water balloon money, you be like, excuse me a second, can I talk to you for a minute? Alicia, you know what I'm talking about. Because the honeys, they be looking at niggas' print. All the women, they look at niggas' print. They try to play like they don't, but they do. Yo, Lucifer, what up? Cardell, what up, Cardell? Man, that water balloon, man, that shit. That's the man. That's the shit right there. It can't be nothing better than that, man. What could be better than that? I'm a nurse. I'm going to watch my male patient. Yeah, I like to see them honeys in the scrubs, though. They be having the fat ass in the scrub. They be having some fat asses in the scrubs. And then their titties be big and the whole scrub shirt be poked out. You be like, damn, I'm glad I came to this doctor's office today when you was here. I want you to come give me my physical. You come give it to me. Hurry up. Come give me my physical. You. Nah, not you. You fat. You come give me my physical. Shout out to Special K. Shout out to Hollywood T. Shout out to Keith Raymond. Shout out to everybody I screamed on today. Yes, sir. Them scrubs be money, boy. And when you see a honey with scrubs, like when you be out, like when I be out in the street and I see a honey with scrubs, I be like, she got a job. I know she working because she got scrubs on. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You already know she got a job. Victor, what up? Lucifer got the raccoon money, man. That raccoon. See, Sean, I try to be serious and you make me laugh every time. Yeah. Shout out to everybody that I screamed on my live today. I still don't like you, though. I don't like nobody. I don't even like the human being. I hate people. I don't even like people. I don't like no people. They're all liars. Margie Harris, what you laughing at? Some of them be the cook. Them scrubs be money, though. Scrubs be money though. Superman Slaughter, what up? Free Puff, man. Free Puff. Scrubs be money, boy. That little water balloon, the triangle in the front. See that little triangle in the front? You be like, God damn. What you doing after work? What time you get off? I'm coming back. I'm gonna come back over here. I'm gonna go get some coffee. All right? What time you get off? 5 o'clock? I'm gonna be outside. 5:08. Where your car? What kind of car you got? Got the Toyota? CRV? Alright. Well, what's your name? Okay. Okay, Lucretia. I'll be back. Y'all think I'm crazy, right? I got mental health issues, don't I? Hey, I got mental health issues, man. Something wrong with me. I got mental health issues. Tayo, what up, man? Y'all don't like no baggy scrubs. Don't be wearing no baggy scrubs around me. Wear them tight ones. Wear them tight ones where they got the triangle in the front. They wear them tight scrubs, and they got the triangle in the front, and they got the gap. When the honey have a gap, and you can see all the way to the wall in the back, you know that kitty cat good. If they got a gap, you know that kitty cat money. That shit good. That shit be good. All my fellas, when they got a gap, when they got a gap, you be like, y'all gotta go talk to her. Don't you? Facts. My mental health worse than yours, man. My mental health issues better than yours, man. I got mental health issues. Hey, yo, what about them honeys with a gap in their teeth? What that mean? You ever see them honeys, the two front teeth, and it's a big gap there? They love to do it. Love it. All the time. They can't get enough. That has always been true, proven true. Let me stop before they strike this video as R-rated. Georgia girls, boy. Them Georgia girls mean, man. Flexibility of movement. Hey. Down south, honey's the truth, man. Fran Taylor, what's up? How you doing? Everything's good. Down south, honey's the truth, man. And red bone, hairy, yeah, I like hair. A lot of hair. Don't shave nothing for me. I tell my ladies, listen, you better not shave. You better not motherfucking shave. Leave it on there. I want an afro on there. And under your arms. Leave it on there. I want an afro.